Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. We so appreciate you taking time today to be with us. I know that you have other options with your time, so it's really nice that you're here with us today. So thank you so much. I'm Jana Minifie, and I'm with Minifie LLC, and I do certified business valuations and consulting. And today I have a great panel, and there's 4 of us. Bill is stuck in traffic, but he'll be here soon. Anyway, so I'd like to introduce my guests to you. We have Andy O'Brien up here for ActionCoach. He's the Chief Energy Officer, and would you like to say anything?
Yeah, thanks for having me today. I'm excited to be part of this. We work with majority of our businesses are family owned and run. And yeah, thanks for having us.
Oh, great. It's nice to have you here. Now, John Spencer.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you be nicer than that?
What did I do? Can I be nicer?
Andy was really gracious.
Oh,
I'm just teasing.
boy, well, thank you.
Anyway, I gotta tell you, these guys are my friends, so it's so nice that I tease with them. So I'll be a little bit more professional now, but.
Oh, why?
So John is a fractional sales, but you do more than that with,
We'll do that.
with clear direction. Did you want to say? a
So,
little
yeah,
bit?
my business is Clear Direction Sales Development, and I operate as a fractional or outsourced sales executives, which means as opposed to say a consultant, I actually come into a company and I become the sales leader in the organization. I do that for companies under $100 million in the $2 to $100 million range. They're usually under 40 million. The problem I solve for is when a company has been developed, usually a family-owned or founder-led business, portfolio company, they want to move from loyalty to performance-based. So when they're ready to do that jump, when they're ready to professionalize the organization, they bring somebody like me in, and I'm another adult in the room, as I say, to help folks.
And you know, that's so important because when a lot of businesses, when they first start out, they're in the entrepreneur mind and they have to switch to be in the business mind. And that's a really tough switch to do.
It is, and I hold them accountable for that. And I'm probably the first person that's told a lot of these CEOs no, because they're not. I mean, you know.
But they need to hear that.
I'm the doctor, they're the patient, is the relationship we have to have, and that's non-negotiable. They need to do what I lay out for them.
Awesome. Well, so, you know, you guys are perfect for today because our whole topic today is about strategic planning. And how do we get to that next growth level? Or how do we get that startup or whatever that next major goal that you have going forward? So Andy.
Yes.
How should strategic planning evolve as businesses grow from startup to established small business?
Well, it's really interesting. John just had the greatest point ever, holding people accountable. Strategic planning in the beginning, people get confused that they want to be the Elons, or maybe they don't today, but Steve Jobs, or they want to be the CEO of a company that's $100 million or more. The reality of strategic planning in the beginning is playing to their strengths, finding out what they've been tracking, how they've been tracking. If they're not tracking, we have to start tracking something, and we have to lay out a realistic plan. One of the most frustrating things that we hear from this side of it is, oh, we're doing $1 million a year. Next year, we're going to do 10 million. And the simple question to me is, well, how? Well, we're just going to do it. And that's the problem. And John's seen that 1,000 times, but it's the, okay, we're going to make a sandwich. How do we make a sandwich? Let's go back to basics. And we have to take people backwards as a trusted advisor and telling them the truth. Like, I've never seen anybody go from $1 million to $10 million or 100,000 to $1 million in the blink of an eye. It is a 10,000-hour journey to success. And the planning process has to start with, what are you doing today? What do you need to do? What are the gaps? And how do we fix the gaps first?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the slowest, easiest way to get them momentum. And we break it into a year. First year, most of these people can't see, like John, you've probably done how many 5, 10, 7-year plans in your lifetime?
A lot, but I try, realistically, I try and max out at 3 years, but a minimum of 3. I always do a 1 to 3 year, because I think you really want to drive the folks, stop thinking about today or the cash flow today only.
Right.
You know, you need, when you start out, maybe it's blending into the next question a little bit, because I think we're on the same
Yeah.
thing. in any organization, it's really important to know where you are. So there's a deep dive into what that is. People, process, product, pricing, and I call it the tech stack with that. AI is such an important thing. Well, I know we'll get to some of that. But what is the desired outcome? And the thing is that, people think when you hire a salesperson or what have you, that you're trying to get revenue up only. You think that'll solve all your problems. It will not solve all your problems. Revenue will not solve in fact, it'll create some. I've had conversations with CEOs where I said, if you really want to 3x or 10x your business or what have you, and you want to do that in 2 years, realize you got about an 80% chance of complete failure where the existence of the business ceases, right? Because I said, I'm going to break things, right? You have a J curve where I'm going to burn a lot of cash. We're going to hire people that aren't going to work out. And your 3-day weekends are gone. I mean, you're now back to the entrepreneurial mode as far as hours. And the difference is you're doing it for somebody else, me.
Yeah.
And so that's not really where they want to be. So sometimes it's more realistic to say the desired outcome is I want to grow my business successfully, my profit. You need to figure out what that desired outcome is.
Yeah.
Now that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, it's got,
So
we
what is
need to know
that
what's
gap? And then you
realistic.
figure it out.
Yeah, and that's the thing we always look at, like that 3-year, and I always joke with people. Most people that are in a business, like a solopreneur, a mom and dad, a grandma, grandpa, they're so in the mud. And I say that very respectfully for all of you out there, because I know the drill. John and I, Jana, we've all been there, right? We've all had to do the work to begin with, but it's pulling yourself out of the actionable stuff every day and doing the strategy and the tactical stuff that leads to it, in planning that first year and breaking it into 90-day increments so you can actually see what you're doing, like your board over here. They can actually see it, and then they can see the wins. They can actually be like, oh, we had to hire a revenue officer. Oh, we had to hire marketing. Oh, and my favorite one of all these, well, if I hire these people and they don't work, it's just a waste of money. Today's society, it happens. You're gonna hire, I was talking to one guy and I asked how many people he's hired. He goes, that's the dumbest question I've ever been asked. Okay, what's the better question? How many people have I fired? And the answer was over 900, because, when you take a company from 100,000 to $500 million, there's a lot of people that are gonna fall out, but we have to get the people at home to start thinking, what's this year look like? And the most important thing that I tell everybody is, and you said it exactly. When are you gonna do that CEO stuff? When are you gonna do the ownership stuff? That isn't 9 o'clock on a Friday. It's maybe 9 PM on a Saturday. You have to do the hard things, and they have to take themselves backwards they have to do the work now.
But what about those that are already working till 9 PM and
Oh,
because they haven't hired the right
Well,
people?
that's the most common thing is, honestly, when people say, what are my clients like, or what have you, there's a lot of different profiles. Not only are they, portfolio companies for PE or whatever, they are founder led. And they're trapped by their business. I hear this a lot. They really, there's a desperation. They might show some bravado or what have you, but, when they have a conversation with me and they can see that I've been there before, there's somebody that can relate to them. You almost see the relief in their eyes, especially as you start walking through the scope. Here's what we're gonna do. Like, oh my God, finally, I don't have to, it'd be like having a back pain that never went away, and some guy goes, not a problem, boom, there, whoa. And so I'm not saying it's easy.
No.
It's simple, but it's not easy. It's simple, in other words, to stop, see where you are, see where you wanna go. It's a lot easier for them when they have somebody to do it with them. And that's the thing, is everything's been on them. The pressure of investors, of mouths to feed, for lack of a better, employees, clients to deal, it all falls on that CEO, founder, leader. And the stress is just, it's more, sometimes they don't want to admit it, but they feel trapped by the business. So if we can show them a
Yes.
way out of that, that's probably the biggest problem solving for. Yeah, we get the business things. So you think about in terms of the bona fides up here, the business stuff. Well, we need to grow revenue, we need cash flow, all kinds. And so they think that's what they're hiring you for. But we don't actually move forward in engagements very successfully unless we address these things down here, which is, how they're really feeling, what they're really trying to deal with. Like, oh my God, I wish I'd never started this before. It's not, because what happens is sometimes businesses get going into down a path, and they don't know how to take direction. or they don't know how to harness the direction the business is going in. So providing that relief can really, it's almost like soothing for me too, to see that, because you can see it in their face, that there's a solution for them.
Well, a lot of times what I see is that the owners haven't taken the time to come up with standard operating procedures. They hire someone, they go, "You're marketing, go." You know,
And they were
Yeah.
Bobby's sister's brother's cousin who doesn't know anything about
Wow.
marketing.
no, but you're taking it over now. You're gonna learn and you're gonna do it.
This-
And there's no metrics.
No,
I should come up with a name for this, easiest things that, if, for those who may know, maybe I'm dating myself, Swiss Army knife, you know what so now.
Boy Scout.
So, that was a utensil for the younger folks that the Swiss Army put together, and it could do everything. It seemed like it even had a radio in it.
Spoon, a
It
fork.
had everything on it, right?
Yeah.
But, so what happens is these companies, they evolve, they hire somebody for a receptionist, and 5 years in, that's the HR, the IT, the ops manager, you know, they have this utility person who isn't really skilled to do any of these things, but has taken them on either for survival or power or whatever it is. And so those are the most obvious folks when I come to an organization. When they pull me in at that 2 million plus level, where they're ready to take that next journey, we're looking for those folks where we put the organization together, what we want to do, but what the roles are that we need, and we say, now, who should have that role? It doesn't matter who's in it today.
Right.
It's like, this is what the role is. If, you know, Betty, the bookkeeper, is not the director of finance, okay? And that's what or Bobby, or.
Right.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
And so and so that becomes self-evident, and it's starting to hurt them. There are consequences now to not addressing that. But I want to be very clear, I'm not a black hat guy. I'm not here to clean house or be the hatchet man. In fact, once you start putting this plan together in the company, and you're communicating this, right? The people know I'm a big fish in a little pond oftentimes. They know I'm here, I'm running the sales team and that. So it's important to over communicate with folks about what's happening.
Yeah,
Here's what we're doing. Here's, hey, we've heard you. Here's what we're looking at doing. Here's the thing. And when they start seeing that, it's like, oh my God, this is not the company I want to be part of. Why? Because there's accountability, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
yes,
A lot of people have tended
Yes.
to, I say they may decline with the company the first time, that first 3, 4, 5 years. They build a nice little campground. Now here comes somebody that says, hey, we're gonna climb some more. And they may
Change.
not be
They don't
comfortable with
like
that,
change,
right?
yes. And they're
And that-
afraid of it. They think that as a consultant, when I'm coming in, that I'm coming in to fire everybody.
I'm not.
We're not. We're trying to solve the. So what are your 3 challenges? The most common 3 challenges that you have ever seen?
Number 1 is getting the CEO out of day-to-day, you're touching on, getting him on the business side of the business bill. But I just wanted to, my point to you was what you were saying about the CEO example you gave. I rarely have to fire somebody if there's something illegal or something, like that. They'll self-eliminate 90% of the time. And when you
Yes.
start bringing accountability in, when they realize, that obviously I deal with the sales vertical a lot of times, most times only. But you'll have this the dominant salesperson in that organization. Might be a sales team of 2, might be a sales team of 20 or whatever. And the whole organization has been optimized around this person. So they begin to believe their own press releases. They really think they're that good.
They think they're
Right.
the star.
And so when we come in and put processes in place that are repeatable and accountable to take us to that next scale, this person starts revolting. This is not how I want to do it. This is not how I've been successful. So it's important for me to use all those leadership muscles to try and, I don't want to get rid of that person, but that person more times than not will self-eliminate, because it's a lot easier for them to just go somewhere. They really believe they're that good, so they'll just take their skills, leverage it, and go somewhere else. And so the CEO discussion I have about the J curve, about you need to be ready, because Bob here, or Bill, there should be Bill.
Welcome, Bill.
Bill,
You're getting fired in 3 minutes.
Nobody's off limits, right? I said, we're doing some big things here. And, again, the objective is not to get rid of somebody. Now, having said that, if you have people in roles that, like I said before, that are not suited for that, we can do that. There's objective ways to assess people
Well, we
as
want
well.
them to be successful. We want everybody to be where they can be successful. If it's not in that position, it might be in another
They
position.
also show relief, right? Because they're like, oh my God, no, here's the 3 conditions that and all clients, even when I was in corporate America, this condition was kind of a problem. Number 1, what is the job description of that person? Is it clear to them what their job description is, what the
Exactly.
company thought is? Number two, what does it mean to do that job well?
Mhm.
And number three, how am I paid? I've never seen anyone in any company that I've entered meet all three of those conditions succinctly. When I do one-on-ones with them, they'll say, well, we have a bonus program. Okay, well, how does that work? Well, I don't know. At the end of the year, if the CEO likes me, I might get a bonus. It's like, okay, well, that's not, what is that? That's the pay side,
So the
right?
job requirement, I have to be nice.
Oh, you
and
need to
speak
be
to.
liked. Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Well, I got,
That's all I have to do.
because to tie that back full circle, that's because they build a loyalty base.
Mhm.
Like, if we're a family here. When somebody says their company is a family, that's a yellow flag to me. I know I've got work to do.
Yeah,
That
I
is
agree
not
with you 1,000%.
Your company is not your family. You should not be treated, it's improper to treat your employees as family. That doesn't mean don't be empathetic. That doesn't mean don't pay them well. I mean, that's not what I'm saying. But realize that you have an obligation to them as the employer-employee relationship. And one of those obligations is to be very clear about what doing their job is as well, because they don't want to, you want them leaving on Friday, wondering all weekend, does this guy like me or gal like me or not? No, they must like me because I'm knocking it out of the park. I'm doing what they told me was my job,
Right,
Mhm.
which is
You know,
everything.
right?
Right. And Bill, this is Bill
Hey,
Thompson
Bill.
Hey, Bill.
with the Small Business Development Center, and he is the Associate Director for them. So we're glad to have you join us. I'm glad you made it.
Yeah, traffic.
Yeah.
Isn't it fun? I'm leaving when John leaves now, 5 to 6 to anything downtown on a Friday, Thursday, or Wednesday.
I did. I before 6 a.m.
Well, now that brings us to my next question, or now question 3, is what are the key metrics for a strategic growth plan?
Ooh. I think well, for us, when we're coming in, the companies that John's working with have metrics already usually set up. When we come into them, most of the family businesses that I've worked with over the last 15 years, they're not measuring anything.
Yes.
I mean, well, they have a P&L, a balance sheet, and there's money in the bank account.
And
Those
they,
are the.
look at those at
The
the end of the year.
lemonade stand on another end level.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, like, we start with, what are they measuring today? So, we start with numbers. In my world, numbers don't lie, emotions get in the way. We talked about time. We start with numbers, and we start with metrics of holding people accountable. People need to report. First and foremost, this may be polarizing today. I know the government has put out like, oh, people want to know what they're doing. We've been doing this for 15 years. It's about accountability. And for us, it's knowing how people think. I can't help a business owner if their brother-in-law is thinking something completely different. So we have to start metrics of what is that role? What are the key standards for that person? Not expectations. I've thrown that word out because John and I have totally different expectations, but I guess we could probably come to the same conclusion. In those worlds, we have to find out, we have to start measuring. So the first measurement that we go for is financial. Net income, profitability, EBITDA. Where are those day one? So we can look at the business and grow from there. Then we start making them defend every expense. Now, this is gonna sound funny for you out there, but just because your brother's sister's cousin told you to run everything through the business because their brother told them 20 years ago that was the way to do it, is not the way to run a business. We have to have them defend expenses because most businesses that I've run into have revenue and they have some profit, but they have a spending problem
Yes.
and they don't know where it's
Yeah.
at. And that's what our first job is with every client is, let's find those metrics. Because I can't even do a sales metrics because I don't even know who's selling what or when or where it's coming in or how it's going in until we actually have some data points to go from. And that is uncomfortable.
But yeah, they don't know their numbers at the end of the day. Even if they have QuickBooks, it's not set up right or what have you, but.
Oh, yes.
But for
The
me,
chart of
as
accounts.
a salesperson, imagine practicality. They think they're hiring me. I'm a sales executive, right? So, let's go grow some sales. All right. Well, tell me who are your top 10 clients? We're gonna get that to you. Okay, okay. You sell widgets. What are your top 5 widgets? We think it's these 3 things. We seem to sell a lot of those. Is that your most profitable product? It must be. We sell the most. So And by the way, you talk about, limited stand, whatever, I want to be clear, I'm talking about 15 and $20 million companies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't like some guy just in one of these startups down at the Capital Factory. These are like people that should know better, are paying a lot of people to look at their numbers and they're not doing it. The problem is that they haven't, on the financial side, they have not migrated from an overemphasis on bookkeeping. There is a point there where you have to admit that you need some finance help too, whether that's a fractional CFO, what have you. And it might be just to come into a quick program and leave for 5 years, but to really put out that 3-year plan on the finance side, to talk with them. Because here's what happens. I come in and I say, hey, we're gonna put a commercial program together. And so we need to get your brand awareness up, lead gen, all these kind of things. What's your marketing budget? Well, we spent $5,000 last year on marketing, went to a trade show, so your budget's $5,000. Like, okay, that's okay. So that's what I run, that's what I walk into,
So
right?
John, for those at home, I think
Yeah.
you need to do a little definitions here. So what is in you, because again, this is important for all of you out there. Doesn't matter what size your business is. What's the difference in financial planning for a business versus financial bookkeeping / tax preparation?
I make it easy for me,
Yeah.
just to put in layman's terms, that's accounting stuff. Everything, looking at what has already happened is accounting. Finance is about where we're going. That's kind of that's in my mind to make it easy for folks.
Excellent.
I don't
you to
mean
say that. You
bank
said that to me.
financing. I mean, when we talk about a 1 to 3 year plan, they'll come to me and say, hey, we need, hey, we hired a guy last year. We generated $1 million. Let's go hire 3 more so we can get $3 million. Well, if only were that easy. But I said, if I got, I said, so I'm gonna hire these 3 people, this is, and then what's scary is that the CEO looks at me across the table and says, can I afford that? I'm like, I don't know. What does your CFO say? What does your director of finance say?
Oh, we don't have that person.
No, yeah, I don't know. My
I'm
sister
doing it.
does the book.
And that's what I wanted to have them know is because like accounting, for those that don't look, when we look at books and everything, that's a lagging indicator.
Yes.
What you're talking about
Yes.
is forward thinking, and this is the hardest part of financials is because a CPA, by the way, if you're a CPA on this call, I'm not trying to be offensive.
No.
You are based on compliance. You have to look at the 75,000 page manifesto from the IRS and you have to work your rules off that. A CFO or a financial officer is taking all of that data and putting it into projections to project if we have growth in sales or marketing or operations or HR, what it will look like moving forward. And we're always looking for that data because we love my CPAs, love tax. I love they do their whiz bang stuff and hide all your money, and that's what they're for. Our job is to make them money. Their job is to do whatever they're supposed to is. But the point I'm trying to make is I think that was one of the greatest parts of this so far is like from a coaching or a revenue side of it, we can't do none of you guys can do anything unless we have clean books. We can't do
Right.
anything and we can't
Well,
see.
The
Correct.
scary part is, we joke about it, but literally, if you have a company that did a big deal and they put $2 million in the bank, then they get kind of giddy and then they spend on me, they bring me in, which is good initially, but that does not really warrant a plan. So when I go in there and talk about plans, I say, well, I just hired you to get my sales up. And so that's good, because you want to know that they feel this way, right? Because you want to walk them through the why of what you're doing. And I said, what if this works? What if I hire 2 people and your sales go from, $2 to $5 million? Are you ready for that? Can you ship 2x the orders this year? Can you, how are you gonna, what about parts? What about tariffs? We'll get into that also. All these other kind of things, right? That I said, so we don't have to solve that today, but that needs to go on the whiteboard and somebody needs to be figuring out that stuff because you're gonna need fuel. Let's plan that this is gonna work. How do you get there? So again, it gets back to the gap analysis. Here's where we're going to go. If the easiest thing for me to do, for anybody to do, is to get more with what you already have, right? So when they say they want to grow more, I'm like, well, okay, again, who are your top 10 clients? That's where we're going to get our first growth. You know, they already know you, they like you, they're buying from you repeatedly or what have you. So let's go find out why they like us, voice of the customer, let's figure this stuff out. So my whole first 30 days or so is this deep assessment around customers, around the personnel, around the processes and stuff. And then I don't, you know, I'll have 100 things that we need to fix, but we'll talk about 4 and we'll
Yes.
we'll kind of reframe it around the most important. If you got an HR issue, we need to get rid of that. You know, if you've got something, you know, compliance issue that's gonna stop the business, you know, cybersecurity, you need to do that. Even though that's not sales related, we'll identify those things and you kind of get solved. But metrics that I look for when I come in, if I'll take over a sales team sometimes as quickly as 3 weeks. I'll come in and do enough assessment to say, the CEO's hired me to get, they don't want to deal with the, right? They've graduated in their mind and a positive that they know they don't have time to deal with the sales team, the care and feeding of the sales team, and they can't provide the sales team what they need as far as leadership. So they hire me to do that, good. That's an easy thing for me, I don't have to convince them of that. But when I talk to these folks, we're looking at pipeline health. We're looking at, you know, where they get in their clients. We're looking at their CRM. And I don't know if I'm leading the witness here, you asked something about the systems or what have you, but I would just tell you the,
You have a lot of great too.
no, I had a meeting this morning and there were 9 lawyers in the room, so I'm just saying. But, so I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Otherwise, you know, I think it's.
You're doing well. I watched Law and Order too.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you that even if you're a team of 1, if I was a 1-person company, I would have a CRM. And here's why this is even more important.
Oh,
You
yeah.
talked about people looking at people or whatever.
All right, first define CRM for everybody.
Or customer relationship management tool, basically. So most people have heard of Salesforce.com. That's over here on this end. We can talk about which one's the right one or what have you. There's HubSpot, Pipedrive, Zoho. There's many CRMs. There's some embedded in like Monday.com, Asana, and all, and of different qualities. And then there's domain specific ones. So if you are in construction, there's CRMs just around that or project related. So, but the main objective you're doing is you're putting all your contacts and your clients are going in there. Further, your channel partners, your affiliates are going in there. You know, so it is the database repository, the one throat to choke, the source of truth for everything that you deal with humans. Now you can have those same humans over in your ERP system, your billing system, QuickBooks, or what have you. So, you know, but that's not sufficient. If they're not in the CRM, I don't care where they are because I'm here to drive revenue. To drive revenue, I need all of that stuff in one place. Now, why this is also shifting, and I don't want to migrate too quickly in this, but is this AI discussion. And where AI becomes, everybody's read AI, hopefully got some familiarity with chat or what have you. But the reality is for a company, all that stuff that's happening out there is of little utility to you if you're not building your internal AI database. And that database is going to come through things like Fireflies. Somebody has a note taker on here where you're transcribing. Every meeting should be transcribed if you can, legally
Yes.
or what have you, with privacy rules and all that kind of stuff. Get all that in here, get all that data in. So I talked to a client or a channel partner. That conversation is going right into that contact. If it's an opportunity for, you know, that we're working on a deal, if you will, then all that's going into there. Every interaction. The other thing is before you close out a CRM, you know, you put all that stuff in there, you never save it until you put the next step in. So that'll drive that discipline. These systems, even the most basic ones like a Pipedrive or what have you, or what have you, they will lay out for you as a seller what's your plan, what you're doing next week, the week after, what have you. If you use it right, it'll make your job a lot easier. But what I'm trying to get to, and the holy grail at hopefully 2 quarters or 3 quarters, is to give a forecast to the company. And this is like magic. I'm telling you, most of the companies I've dealt with have never had a forecast. Their forecast is, this is what we sold last year, we're going to sell 10% more this year. This is what we sold last January, we'll probably sell that this January, you know? And that's not what I'm talking about. If you do all this right, all this magical stuff, it's not that hard in the CRM, you will start getting a more and more accurate forecast. I'm happy with a 50% accurate forecast in the first year because they've never had one. And that allows you to make business decisions that'll roll back into finance. That'll say, hey, we know we're gonna get this 50% stuff closed. Let's increase our marketing budget. You know, so it begins to give you the confidence as a company leader to make decisions going forward. They've never had that in sales. It's been bumpy.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you, the reason, the one that really startles people is when you go into a company that went from $2 to $5 million in a year. And you go and you look at it and you go, hey, how did you guys get this $3 million? Well, damn if I know, but, but we're sure happy we got it, I hope we get another 3 next year. It's like, so, I mean, just like they don't know why they're falling into into the drain, while they're spiraling down,
Yeah.
they don't know how they won. If you are a real estate agent in Austin, about 3 or 4 years ago, if you had a pulse, you were growing.
Yes,
Okay?
yes, and you can
Right?
fog a mirror.
Yeah, and so, it wasn't a lot of magic, and that's not a thing against real estate agents, I'm
No,
just
but it
saying,
was the
you're-
market.
Yeah, the
but
market,
that's
yeah,
with any small business,
Yeah.
right? When the market is good and they're doing really well,
lifting.
yes, but then when it starts to go down, if they don't have great policies, metrics in place, then they're gonna just go away.
Well, he said it the best, like, when you can't measure, you can't see, so you can't move it.
You don't have those leading indicators,
Yeah.
right?
To know that the market is about
The
to
leading
change.
indicators will tell you, the cool thing about, I have a sales meeting every week, it's a pulse meeting. And by the way, in that pulse meeting, well, 60 minutes to 90 minutes, 5 minutes is numbers. Because if they're doing anything else, I already know what the numbers are. I'm looking at their dashboards, it's in the CRM, we know what it is, right? But we'll talk about, are you on your plan or are you not? That's all it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you
and
gonna
then
do next week?
It's the
Get back up.
one-on-one we're gonna talk about, they'll have a one-on-one with somebody who's really helping. But if the company does the same thing, and I tell people, we do this in corporate America all the time, you have 3 lines, what you hope, what you kind of juice Wall Street on up here, which you're probably really gonna do, and then,
Worst case.
yeah, down here, right? And so depending on where you are on which one of those lines do you enact plan A, B, or C? If plan A is we're gonna hire 30 people and invest in marketing, what have you, that means you better be on that top line. Otherwise, that plan comes to 20 people. Or otherwise, that plan comes to, who do we lay off? We lay off 10.
Yeah,
So but you could plan all that ahead of time.
but they don't see that. They see it, they're always in the reactionary, and so we're always constantly
Yeah.
battling that. So what CRM are you using for your business, John?
Well, it's, I get provided a couple free ones.
Yeah.
And so, because of an affiliation I have with a group called Sales Acceleration, I get one called Clarity Soft. That's given to me when we do our marketing stuff to that. I will implement Pipedrive as my default. It's the fastest. I can come into on Monday and I can have people using it somewhat effectively by Wednesday. Without any bells and whistles or fanciness. And you can get, it's like $29 or $39 a month for a seat. And now they've got AI tools, and it might be $50 a seat, but it's worth it, right?
It's,
It's the easiest one.
so it's really interesting, like, and it was really funny, when I read the questions last night, I track, so even as an owner of our business, I'm required to track in our business, because I'm an employee, right? I'm an employee, 29 days a month, and, it's funny when we have, I call Tanner, because Tanner does all of our metrics and tracking, builds spreadsheets, put other stuff in spreadsheets, not what I want to do. But we're measuring every vertical of marketing, and we have 7 that we're doing on a constant basis, but we're measuring 73 metrics. And our top line business is only $2 million, or right about 2 million. So when we start looking at other businesses, it's what are
You're really getting to the micros there, aren't you?
well, we are, because we're building a platform to grow,
Got it,
right?
yeah.
So we're trying to, as a family business, trying to grow, but when you go into the business like we do, we're looking for the first 5. What, like you said, 4, we're looking for 5, and I always love that when you said it best. How many clients do you have? They can usually tell me that.
Yeah.
They can usually tell me how much revenue, and they can tell me if they have any profit. They can't tell me anything else, so we just want them to start sales. First thing we start measuring is conversion rate. Marketing lead to conversion. So I love what John's saying, and if you guys, I'm picking up nuggets right here, I've taken a few notes, because he's very good at what he does.
I'm gonna run down the list here real quick, just to answer your question very specific around metrics. These are KPIs or leading indicators that look at. Revenue growth and sales efficiency, that's pipeline velocity, that's customer acquisition cost, that's a lead to customer conversion rate and sales productivity. Sorry, I don't have all this in my head. Next category is.
Can you share that with me so I can share it with everybody?
Sure.
Afterwards?
Yeah.
Great.
Customer and market growth. So I'm looking at customer lifetime value, customer retention rate, churn rate, net promoter score. Next category, operational efficiency and scalability, gross margin, recurring revenue versus one-time sales, revenue per employee, efficiency ratio. Category 4, cash flow and financial health. Operating cash flow, debt to EBITDA ratio, days sales outstanding, burn rate, and runway. I didn't bring my glasses. Brand and competitive position.
Old people problems.
All the equations are on here. Brand and competitive positioning. So looking at market share growth versus competitors, customer acquisition channels, SEO ranking. It depends on what you're. SaaS companies are different than maybe. So it's a little. I'm just throwing.
So these are not gonna be standard for every business.
That's right. Well, and they may not be the most important. The last one is actually should almost be the first one, which is employee and leadership effectiveness. Employee productivity, it's revenue per employee, employee engagement score, and turnover rate. So there are tools. I have another service that I deal with. I'm a certified partner for something called Predictive Index. And that's around both talent acquisition, recruiting people, retaining people, and around team design itself, how they perform. And through all those, it's a scientific based thing, it's a software. I'm not trying to sell, I'm just trying to give you the idea that the processes are there, that you can scientifically decide if somebody's happy, if somebody is a flight risk and things like that. If people, there's ways to do that. And I would tell you that, there's too many people putting 80% of their effort into the process of a company and leaving the people as a secondary consideration. And I'm not saying in this world of AI and what have you, it's evident. The differentiator for any business, and we'll get into this a little bit about unique value proposition and differentiators, what have you, competitive analysis, is your ability to be human.
Yeah.
That'll be your differentiation. Because I'm telling you, if you're trying to get your people to all be tight and efficient, I can do that better with a machine, either today or in 6 months. So the fight to get people to be like machines, to break down their element parts of who they are and measure how efficient they are in those people are irrelevant. Those processes are largely irrelevant soon. How you can be human, certainly when I talk about sales or with business or with clients, it's the human to business or business to human, be to human. Whatever. There's all these, things out there. And I think that's the thing, is where leadership becomes much more evident, or lack of leadership becomes more evident. Your people are going to be the differentiator, and the biggest challenge people are going to have in all this business stuff is people. Not, you can recruit people, but just by paying them more money, but can you get the right people? And the people you need are people that can take your company in that 3X. That's what you're trying to do. That's why the 3-year plan is so important. Because I need to hire today the people I need for that to get on that 3-year.
Right, so how do they hire the right people though? I mean, that's the question, right? That's the $1 million question that most small business owners
Well, the
have.
good thing about it is they have a bit of a roadmap, because if they've got, in my case, if they've got $2, $3, $4, $5 million or whatever, they've hired people before, and we can probably identify either somebody now or previously that was a model employee, maybe. Maybe. And then we have to define what their definition of model is, because what was a model employee at 1 million is not a model employee at a $10 million company.
Because they can't think that big. It's
Right.
really interesting. I've heard a lot of people talk, and you said something when you first got here today, and he said people, process, product, profit, or revenue. You said that.
Yeah, price.
Price when you came in. So I've always said that. So you asked about how do we hire the right people? This is one of the most frustrating statements that I hear over and over again. People don't want to work today. That is absolute total horseshit. It is absolutely, here's the reality of it. People don't want to work for you. That's the reality of the equation here. That's what people don't understand. Well, and they, like he just said there, I run into all of those. Well, it's only a $20 an hour job for me. Okay, so we're here in Austin, Texas. I don't know where you guys are at, but since my wife was with United Way, I learned a lot about ALICE, which is asset limited, income restricted, right? It's the income of people in the poverty level within communities. Poverty level in the metroplex of Williamson, Travis, and Hayes County is $47,000 a year. That's poverty.
You can't live independently. I did a thing for my kid. About $63,000 would allow you to live in an apartment in an old used car.
Yeah, maybe an old used car, maybe a bicycle.
I mean, first meal,
No, right.
I mean, some other expenses there too, but really, I think somewhere around $60,000 is probably your ability to, the first time to peek your head up and maybe live independently.
Yeah, and when you're hiring people today, the hardest thing to do for owners
in hiring people is they put a price on a job based on insufficient knowledge. That's the number one thing I see is, and here's, I tell this to people all the time, if you pay peanuts, you will get monkeys. And we're gonna continue to have this juggernaut of people coming and going. And then we have to look at productivity. He said it, what is productive? Well, let's give them standards to go with and let's build them up so they can grow, but you can't expect people today, and I still have clients that are in Iowa and Minnesota where the cost of living is less, right? So we're still in an area where $12 an hour is still not a livable wage. The point I'm trying to make here is hiring people today, you have to look at where you want your business to go, and you have to hire people based on where you want your company to go, not where it's at today. If you're gonna bring somebody in, let's just call an administrative assistant, or for you old people out here like me, we used to call them secretaries. That'll get you fired today. I'm not HR compliant, but you can't tell me that if a person who's gonna be the trusted advisor for you to answer the phone, do your calendar, make sure you're on time, have things in your office, that is a highly analytical person that needs to be paid well, because that position is your right hand. That is a position you do not want to, but people do it all the time. Well, they're just answering the phone.
So this.
No, they're the point person, right? The first person someone sees when they come into your business.
They do, but we've got to get people to stop looking at people down their nose and being like, well, my business is only this today. We have to, that goes to the plan. It goes to strategic
Well,
planning.
they do, and so so there's two things I want to say, there's two sides of this coin, one I'm gonna validate, one
Challenge.
I'm gonna pull. And the first of the validation is that, first off, I mean, the lowest job I know in Austin is $16 an hour, so I don't know if you're paying somebody $12 an hour, anybody pay anybody $12 an hour out there? I don't know what you're doing, but,
Especially if you're in the Austin area.
Yeah.
$60 an hour is Pete Terry's 16-year-old out of in high school.
Yeah,
Okay.
starter job.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so, and you're $20 an hour at Lowe's and Home Depot, so just give you the level set. But that aside, there are, from the employee side, the preachers around, these are your learning years, not your earning years.
Oh.
And so if you're able to get into a great company with a great culture, and you have no skills, you have no degree that's applicable and so forth, in that case, I would argue, for example, maybe you do take the $20 an hour job.
To
Because
start,
to start,
but not to be there
because you have
forever.
that big company rigor, right? Well, once you're in there, I mean, obviously, people recognize talent within companies. And honestly, you don't have to rise to the highest levels of income at Google. You need no degree, right? If you can pass the Google exam, you're in.
So let me clarify one thing. When you talk about a big company, do they have benefits?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was speaking of those companies that don't have
Well, I mean,
benefits. Oh, yeah, so I
yes.
love what you're saying there, because people don't understand the cash value of 401k, insurance,
Oh, yeah.
PTO.
Yeah, that's fair.
They,
Yeah.
they don't understand, they might not understand that. That's another 33%.
Well, let me give you the other coin, because I want to throw a thorn in the mix.
Please.
When somebody, when you laid out the administrative assistant or assistant you're talking about, there are a lot of people doing that. There's two, one is the AI agent.
Yeah.
That's taking the place of that. And the other one is I can get an MBA in the Philippines for $18 an hour, who speaks perfect American English and who has led teams of teams for years. That's who's an executive assistant. And he or she has a team of 5 or 10 under them. And and every American can access that, or you can go to Nicaragua, or you can go to Mexico
Yeah,
City. So my point is that, when you talk about the skill sets again, if you're gonna be present, if you want, your differentiation in that case is you are present. So there's a presence. To your point, you're walking into the business, you need somebody there, right?
Great point.
You need to have skill sets. The schools, the universities, this university, Texas State and others, need to be teaching people, skill sets. My daughter's in finance. I'll pick on her. I had this conversation with her yesterday. And, about, it doesn't matter how good you're, I said, what are you gonna do? Well, I'm gonna probably be a financial analyst. I said, so what exactly are you gonna analyze that AI can't analyze better? I'm just curious, because if you're looking at all
Dad moves, a level expert right there.
And I said, so when I talk to these accounting firms here, right, the big ones, I'm not gonna throw any names out there, but just kind of this is anecdotal, but they're saying, well, the challenge they have, they've got these partners, if you will, 8, 10, 12 years in the firm, they can oversee what AI can do, right? So the subject matter expert comes in and validates what the process is doing largely, even lower level folks. So the problem is, how do you grow that 8 to 10 year person? Because they're not gonna need the 1 to 5 year person anymore. Okay, or they're not gonna be doing, or they'll need them for lower level tasks, or they'll need them for exceptional tasks. But the industry is changing. We're talking this calendar year. This is not a future state.
Right,
We're doing this right
prepare
now.
people with AI.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
so I don't know, I think, I'm not trying to scare anybody about AI. It's a positive, right? It's a freedom. But I'm saying, if you're in university today, for anybody that's out there that might be in the university today, you can get AI certificates that are free. You can go on Coursera, or I don't know, if Penn State has something like that. You can, now, if you gotta pay $1,000 to get the certificate, but don't get the certificate just because it'll change anyhow in 6 months.
Mhm.
But make sure you're at least using a chat. Make sure you're at least staying familiar with it. I mean, it's amazing what you can get for free right now on the tools, right? So I think people are waking up to that. But at least do that since you're familiar with it.
And I appreciate you pulling that back in, because that, what you said, onshore, offshore, intellectual, AI, all those things are really
Well,
important
there's
today.
a lot of things. Labor is changing very quickly, right? So you asked the question, how do you hire people? It's not easy. And oh, by the way, recruiters need to change also. I'm gonna throw a plug that way, and some are adapting very quickly, but recruiters need to change. If you're posting a job on LinkedIn or what have you, I did this by accident. I can't believe I did this. I posted a $20 an hour job for a company, a client I had. And I posted it, like, I don't know, on a Monday afternoon or something. By Tuesday morning, I had 800 people apply. Because they're also using automations to apply, right? And the problem is that, you get, I think it's Indeed, actually, in this example. You get charged by all those candidates. So you have to go get rid of all of them, otherwise you get charged for all. You have to, like, deny very quickly. So now that can all be automated on both sides, right? So how do you stand out, so the warfare of how you hire and fire has changed very quickly, right? The best way is that you get somebody that you can be referred to. The problem with small companies are, they tend to have, I find leaders, they operate too much on intuition. In reality,
Yes.
you don't need to, whether it's a predictive index, like I mentioned earlier, but there's other assessment tools as well. Get it. I've been interviewing a lot of salespeople for a lot of years. I get fooled too. And salespeople interview very well.
Oh, they better.
Okay.
That's their job.
Okay. And
Yeah, but
you
think about that. You just said something very well. You get fooled too. I get fooled.
get an objective
Yeah,
measure.
we use DISC, we use the psychographic questions that throw people off, not the ones like, my favorite question I've always asked, and you'll probably laugh at this one. If I walked out in your car today, what would I find? Because I'm looking for how.
What are you, a cop?
No.
That's
lawyer. I played a lawyer. No, but for me, it's think about it for a second. It's the one question that throws them completely off their game of, they're so into the skills and they're so into this process of selling you or me selling them. But when you ask them what they're gonna find in their car, they have to stop and
You know
go,
what, in an interviewing process, maybe they don't do this for all employees, why they take you to lunch? They want to see if you can use a knife and fork, right?
right?
They want to see how you treat this, or
Oh, yeah.
the
treat
waiter,
people,
what
yeah.
have you. They need to get you in another environment. That was the original concept there.
Oh, your AI is working well, John. Well done.
That's not mine. What is that?
Actually, it is. They're doing the summary OtterBox. So the one thing I love about these SBDC things is you
Oh,
have
there you go,
moderators
yeah.
and you have AI tools that are hooked up. So when we say things and they count, it starts tracking, like you can see over there.
What's our already takeaways? We're not done. Are we done?
Not yet. We still
Okay.
have 5
I
more
just wonder
minutes.
why it's, I didn't mean to hog the meeting.
No.
Angela does a great job at that.
But Andy, when you were talking about paying people, the first thing that came into my mind is I'm thinking about value. When people are setting the price of their product or service, it has to be based on the value that they're providing, right?
Absolutely.
And so they have to do the same thing when they're hiring people. What is the value that they're adding to the business?
And I agree with that wholeheartedly. And it goes to every role, every position, because, operating fixed costs, all of those things factor into when you have to hire people. Many times over the last 5 years since COVID, we've seen a lot of companies not raise their price based on fear.
based on, well, I can't make sales. Well, in my world, that's giving away profit every year. There has to be some incremental changes to price because all of your ancillary costs go up, whether it's a 3% price increase for your people, but you gotta look at the value of the people and where's the business going? And everybody has to have buy-in. He said that about culture and leadership. The number one killer of people today is a leader, a boss, a president. You put the name entrepreneur, founder that has a vision that nobody understands. Can't see it, can't feel it, can't even be a part of
And
it.
that is so important that
Yeah.
everybody on the team understands where the company wants to go.
Yeah, I mean,
And they
it's
have to
like,
buy in on it.
Yeah.
like, it's like her kids. So the boiling question is, how did your daughter take that question? About the finance that she could do
Well,
better than?
I honestly, the thing that shocked me was, she's in her fourth, whatever, 4 years in college, whatever. And they're not talking about this stuff. They're too busy teaching them, I don't know what they're teaching them, but they're not talking about how to, I mean, especially in a business college.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, business college is of no use if people is not a big part of the curriculum. If you go look at their curriculum, I haven't looked at their curriculum should be a quarter around dealing with people, leadership, skills, communication.
but it's not.
If it's all leaning towards finance and spreadsheets and da-da-da-da, then you're gonna have little utility to me as a hire. And I'm the kind of person that hires those people.
In business schools, I've seen it where they started eliminating communication classes.
Well, but you also look at, like, we do a lot with professional dental, eye clinics, orthodontist, oral surgery. I was talking to an oral surgeon. He is brand new in the business. His business partner's been there for 31 years. I asked a simple question. So how many business courses did you take? The oral surgeon's been there for 31 years. It's like, they taught us to drill and fill. We didn't do any business classes. Like, literally, this is lucky.
Hmm.
The gentleman that just came out of college, 0. No business classes, no
Yeah,
nothing.
the problem is the doctors aren't learning how to be doctors either. That's a whole nother.
No, that's a whole, we don't have the time today.
Yeah.
But the point I wanted to make is that, look, if you are a founder, entrepreneur, people only follow people that are given inspiration to follow. You follow not influencers, leaders. When I look at leadership, I pull out people like John Maxwell or TD Jakes or Anthony Robbins or Stephen Covey or Warren Buffett. These are people that are leaders to me that I have followed, right? You pick your own. These are not influencers. These are people who have done what I'm trying to do. But they show you and they can articulate down to the sentence that will inspire Bill, that will inspire Andy, will inspire both of you to want more from yourself. That's how you get people to buy into. They will take less money. The people will work for less if they have, like, we want you to go here, but we give you extra PTO. We'll give you more time off.
Things that are valuable to
that are
them.
valuable to the person today.
Yes.
People that have small kids. It's not like when I was growing up and I'm 55. Hey, you don't have enough money, go get a second job. Okay, we can't have all of us.
I'm gonna say, again, I'm gonna give you this, because I think I think that was true. I think it's the pendulum swinging a little bit. Ironically, our population is decreasing, it's not increasing. The only increase America has is in immigration, legal or otherwise. So no immigration, no growth, and we need about 12 million more workers today.
Yes,
So we have a
absolutely
problem,
correct.
right? And so because of that, if you see this, the return to work policies and so forth, and I don't care if you're Gen Z or Gen this or what have you. This is our company handbook. This is how we do things here. Do you want the job? Period.
Yeah,
And that and you can say, well, that's a big company thing. It's not. It has to be a little company thing because
they have to have rules.
they have to have cash burn in that. The other thing is, everybody, when you start treating people individually, other people see that. Okay, it's why you don't have. That's why favoritism is so bad, right? That's why nepotism is bad.
Entire
thing,
chapter
right?
on that. So
Right. So because people say, they know who's competent, who's not, and who's getting special treatment, who's getting the best accounts or what have you. So all I'm trying to say, I'm not saying everybody needs to be treated the same, everybody has
No, they
individual
should not be
needs.
treated
Oh,
the same.
no.
Right,
Absolutely not.
but I am saying that, you know, you cannot go out of your way as a company to have a program for Bob and a different one for Bill
I
and
agree.
what have you.
I absolutely
And
agree.
so if people do that, they do that to recruit people
It's
and then
time,
they
guys.
change it.
Oh, man, this is great. Can we come back again?
Yeah.
Sorry, team.
Wait, we didn't answer any questions.
Yes, all right, there was one question about the AI course online.
Yeah, Coursera is one that just had one, they have several. One was sponsored by IBM on there. It's called, it's like AI for Everyone. And it's kind of a foundational course. I just looked at this week. Somebody recommended it to me. I haven't taken it. It's 4 modules. Again, I think if you pay for it, you get a certificate. If you don't pay for it, you just get the knowledge, you know. But it's on Coursera, for example. There was an IBM one and there was another person that just put AI for Everyone in Coursera and it'll bring like 3 different courses up. You can look at it. But there's others out there like that.
Okay, guys, join us in next month on the second Friday again, and we're gonna be talking about, risk management. We're gonna be talking about risk management. I almost forgot what it was. So yes, we're gonna be talking about different ways of protecting your business. We'll have a trademark lawyer here that will be joining us.
You'll see more of the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, everybody.
Yes,
John, you had some great nuggets.
thank you everyone for
I'm
joining
taking
us
notes.
today.
too.
We're gonna go through the comments, make sure we haven't missed anything. But thank you everyone for being here.
John, I promised you one of these and I forgot to give it to you last
Oh.
night.
Oh, and I have one.
I knew.
Is that why the wife?
What the family,
Oh, okay.
what the family, if we're doing SEC or what is
Are
it?
we pausing?
No, we're still live.
Still live? Okay.
So-
Any more questions?
Yeah, we're
There's
just,
one, can you click the red button in the middle
Oh.
bottom?
Q&A?
Jane's been pretty good about putting those up. Can you tell I
6
worked
new
with Jan?
messages over
Oh,
here.
there it is.
How, IP is a feature. Yeah, IP is a big deal and that's what the concerns around, I think that's around the AI thing. The problem is that AI has been, supposedly a lot of these large language models have been, teaching their models without paying for it. So the lawyers are lining it up, man. There's a lot of litigation on there. The other thing is you gotta be careful, people are concerned. I have another networking group and 17 out of 35 people said they would not use a large language model in their business today because they're concerned about security. So there's a lot of either ignorance about it or what have you.
oh,
but
I think there's a lot of
concerns.
ignorance. I know, like,
Yeah.
for court cases.
Yeah.
If the judge asks you if you used AI at all in developing your report, they'll throw it out.
I was in part of one of John's groups and he asked that question and a lawyer said he read a brief.
Yeah.
Written in AI and he goes, it totally was all wrong and the judge threw it out.
Yeah.
Because but he is on the AI. If you guys want to learn, you should go follow
Well,
John.
I trust there's a lot smarter people.
No,
than
but
me.
you're doing so
But, you know,
much, you're on the front
There's
side
some-
of it.
There are these guys like Reid Hoffman and that out in Silicon Valley. They're like the fathers of AI. I've been doing it for 20 years or so. And they will, and I listen to these podcasts all the time. They're like, hey, don't ask us because that was a week ago. I don't know. I got to know what happened this week. So these are people who have literally founded, you know, what we think of as AI a quarter century ago. And they, you know, it's hard to keep up. But the point is, you think about your how you budget your time. We talked about budgeting time for leadership, CEO tasks. What I recommend to people is somebody in the organization that has a tremendous feeling around this. Put them as the affinity person for this. Let them do the diligence. Secondly, be careful because if every employee, even if you have 10 employees, are using 15 different tools. Now you got 150 tools out there, you know, and so, you know, it could be a security risk. Certainly everybody's wasting their time too. So maybe people can recommend a tool, have somebody vet it and say, okay, our company is using Firefly, it's not Fathom. Or our company, you know.
Well, it's the difference between open source AI and enterprise AI, where enterprise
yeah.
AI is closed door and it's right there for
We
your
hope.
business, yeah.
Until the employees do something, you know.
Yeah,
And
but,
that's why you don't want them to use all these free tools, because those tools give you access could give you access to your closed loop.
mhm.
So, you know, so the security protocols, cybersecurity is now become even more important.
Mhm.
So I don't care if you're a company of 2, you better learn about cybersecurity.
Yeah, because we'll talk about that in April.
Who's
Thank you.
who's coming for that?
Jason Blair is coming.
He's the IP guy. Oh, there's, hey, whoever had the IP question, you could,
Yeah.
we have an IP attorney coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drake Ballard was coming, but he, is gonna be in Costa Rica. Andy, I think you're joining us?
Yes.
No.
No, not that one.
April, you're not coming.
Yeah.
Cause I think it was April you could not come.
Yeah.
Bill will be there, I'll be there, and I'm gonna bring in another IT guy, and I think I have someone from insurance. Because I think all of those things are important, having trademark, insurance, because a lot of people, and they think, well, I'll just go get an insurance policy, well, it's more than just an insurance policy. Risk management has to do, looking at everything that's going on in the business, the AI.
Your
where they're
EO.
using-
Think about, how many clients do you have? What if your client database gets compromised?
Mhm.
What if you have investors? All that investor
Right.
relations stuff gets compromised. What if you get, so,
Where are the different risks that you can run into in your business to make sure that you are making sure you're planning for other things, but.
Yeah, it's scary out there.
Mhm.
It is very scary out there especially when people don't have.
Oh,
when
yeah, we still
especially-
have people here.
there's 42 people out there. I guess we're entertaining. Any more questions?
If we have.
Let's go down to 8 more questions. 8 more questions out here, right?
Oh, thank you. Let go left to right. Guess that's who we are.
The chat.
Most of these are comments.
Okay.
And I also included the links to Coursera that you mentioned, so.
Oh, great job, Jean.
Yes,
And that's about it.
All right, perfect. Thank you, everybody.
yeah, thank you everyone for being here.